play?
Yeah, I think they got a little more simple towards the end of the year. I mean, obviously, I was down and out at that point, and so I wasn't able to attend as many meetings because I was rehabbing. But that was the word, was that they were kind of simplifying things just to let guys just go play and do what they do. At the end of the day, it's still football. It's the same game we've been playing since we were however old you were, third grade, whatever. Just try not to make it more complex than it necessarily needs to be. It needs to be more complex, obviously, but there comes a point where it's just too much.
That's what I was going to say. Is there a balance there between like too simple, where you guys are getting exposed, and having it complex? Is that a hard one to navigate as a team?
It is, and I think that's why what coordinators are good at figuring out is what's too complex and what's not, and just having rules, like black and white rules to fall back on. Because sometimes it's the plays are just going, and you have nothing to fall back on if they do things a certain way or a different way than what you saw on film. Like, it kind of changes those things, and so if you don't have rules to consistently fall back on, it just makes things harder than it needs to be.
In that regard, how was Al as a linebackers coach for you to take Lou's complex scheme and keep it simple for you guys to do away in terms of that connection?
Yeah, I mean, it was cut and dry. It was black and white. There was no gray area. And I just think that's important, because that goes back to my point about saying how you can play free, because you know what's supposed to happen and what you're supposed to do, and if they get you a certain way, then just react and play football. Like, don't over complex things that don't need to be more complex than they need to be.
Yeah.
So
how will Al, the defensive coordinator, be different than the linebacker coach, do you think?
Then the
defensive coordinator versus being a linebacker coach.
How will he be different?
Yeah.
I guess I'll find out. I don't know. I feel like he's just gonna be the same self that I knew him as a coach. I think it's just now he's more worried about the bigger picture than just his position group. He's obviously still has that linebacker background in him, and he's going to have his little says in our defense with how he wants us to do things, just because he's naturally a linebackers coach. But I think just him as a coordinator, he's coached offense too, which I feel like is really good, because you can be a play ahead of a play in terms of, like, if we're going to play something this way, like, he's going to be ahead of how they might adjust to it, and then what we're going to adjust to off of that. And so I just feel like he's going to be good for us, fresh start, and just be able to do things a little bit different way than maybe we had in the past. I think it's going to be good for us as a defense. So,
what about adding two linebackers and what he plans to do up front, and the way he talked a lot about during the draft, moving pieces on the chessboard? Mm-hmm. Are you anticipating him moving pieces around quite a bit?
Yeah, here and there. It just depends on the scheme, and honestly depends on who we're playing and what kind of defenses you want to throw at them. I think it'll change on a week-to-week basis, but just having guys, like I think he said in his meeting about being able to have a linebacker that can be off the ball and then moved on the ball, those kind of different things just allows him more variability within our scheme, and then guys can't just pick and choose, like, based on let's say where I line up in a certain coverage scheme, that they know what my job is every time. So we can vary that kind of thing and then make it less one-dimensional.
Do you remember your first game wearing the green dot, Helmet Communications?
I think, was that the Vikings?
The opener at
21?
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know if you did it at all your rookie year. Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Vaughn had it.
Right.
Because we were interchanging linebackers, and Vaughn was like the only one that stayed on the field the whole time.
Yeah.
That was something you didn't do in college back then, right?
No, they didn't have it.
Yeah.
It was all visual communication from the sideline.
Yeah.
How much of an advantage?
So then you'd echo it, but that was like everyone saw the call. It wasn't like you were the one giving the call.
Yeah.
There might have been checks you had to make, but it wasn't as complex as this is.
Because, I mean,